Today I want to help you to find the abundance and blessings in your birth chart. And we're going to do this by looking at the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is known as the planet of expansion, of growth. When it touches something in your birth chart, we talk about it being broadened, made bigger in some way. My teacher Frank Clifford describes Jupiter beautifully in this way. Jupiter shows us where we are blessed in abundance to teach and give freely of our talents, insights and wisdom. And I love that, because it reminds us that Jupiter is not just about us having more or feeling more blessed. To be truly abundant, we're asked to share our gifts, to share our talents and share our wisdom. And in this way, we're expanding Jupiter in our own charts out into the world. What I'm offering you here is the idea that even if you feel like things are tough in life or that things are not going the way that you really want them to, that there is some area of your life where you can find an opportunity for expansion, for growth, to gain more wisdom, and it will come with more ease once you pinpoint exactly where that is. So what does Jupiter energy feel like? It feels like confidence, it feels like optimism. So have a think about your own life. Is there an area specifically where you do feel more confident, where you are more optimistic about things maybe than the people around you? There's a faith that's connected with Jupiter and an urge to know more, to learn more. Jupiter is very much associated with higher wisdom. And so there might be an area specifically in your life where you crave deeper meaning, deeper understanding. This very much relates to Jupiter energy. Where Jupiter is in your chart, you might also feel a bit invincible. And of course, that can be a good thing. Sometimes we need that sometimes in our lives. But this also relates a little bit to the shadow side of Jupiter. And that's to do with greed and overconfidence and even a resistance to responsibility sometimes. So for us to really take advantage of Jupiter's blessings, we have to develop integrity. We have to develop ethics. And that's why if you follow astrology, you will notice that Jupiter is often talked about together with Saturn. Saturn is this planet of boundaries, of structure, of discipline. And so when we have a very strong Jupiter, it's important that we also bring in those Saturn qualities so that we can use that Jupiterian energy for the highest good and in the most productive and efficient way possible. So Jupiter rules two signs. It rules the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and it rules the sign of Pisces, which is a water sign. Now both signs are mutable signs, so there's a flexibility, there's a go with the flowness about both those signs, but there's a very different energy. Sagittarius is the explorer, the teacher, searching for meaning, wanting to go out into the world and bring back that meaning. Whereas Pisces, the water sign, is much more related to the internal world, is a daydreamer, the mystic, the creative, very much associated with religion, with faith. People born around the same time as you, the same year, are going to have Jupiter in the same sign. But when it comes to the house, you already know that depending on what time you were born, the house that Jupiter falls in can be very, very different. And so while the sign gives the information about the energy of how that Jupiter is expressed, the house tells us where that Jupiter is expressed. Okay, so let's have a look at the first houses. We're going to be looking at the houses in groups. Houses 1 to 3 relate to I am, I have, I think. These are very personal houses. If you have Jupiter in the first house, then you might be naturally confident. Maybe you are a person who is optimistic about life. There might be a lightness about you that people notice. You might even be the kind of person that wonders why everybody else doesn't lighten up a little bit, why people are so down on the world. Well, the reason is because this is your blessing. You are blessed with this feeling of confidence, even if everything outside is going to pot. And of course, that can bring some disappointment. The world doesn't always reach your expectations, but your blessings here are about bringing that confidence, bringing that optimism, that buoyancy, very much Jupiter words, bringing that out into the world, sharing that with others. This is how you expand that Jupiter energy even more. If you have Jupiter in the second house, then we're talking about your possessions, but also your self-worth, how you value yourself. And maybe you actually have a pretty good self-worth. Maybe you find that things come to you with ease. You might find the idea of manifesting quite simple and you wonder why other people can't get it as easily as you can. This is because this is your blessing. And once you know that, then you can use that information to teach others, to help others, to encourage others to trust themselves, to have faith that the universe will bring them what they need. because this is a faith that you naturally have. Can you see that? In the third house, we're talking about the way that we think, the way that you communicate. And so perhaps you're naturally an amazing writer. You're good at communicating. You're good at delivering messages. Can you see how we could easily overlook these blessings? How you might just not even realize that they are a blessing because it's just something that you naturally do, that you've always done. Those of you out there that know a little bit more about astrology know that it's very important, the aspects, the relationships that Jupiter is making with other planets, with other points in your chart. If Jupiter is making a more harmonious aspect with anything in your chart, then you might find that abundance, blessings in that area of your life comes with a little bit more ease. If it's making more of a dynamic aspect, a square, an opposition, then it might mean that you have to work a little bit harder for those blessings, for that abundance to really be felt, to be noticed in your life. And I know this very well. I have Jupiter conjunct Saturn. And if you were born around 1981, you might have this as well. For me, that has really meant that those blessings, that abundance has really come over time through dedication, through hard work. But this is why it's important to realize that those more dynamic aspects are not necessarily negative. In fact, quite the opposite, because they can bring a more steady growth. They can be really productive. They teach us to be much more responsible with these gifts that we've been given by the universe. So the next three houses, we have I feel, the fourth house. I create, the fifth house. I serve, the sixth house, very much related to work. And so if you have Jupiter in the fourth house, then this is the first water house in the zodiac. And this can very much relate to your intuition. Maybe your blessings are that you are naturally intuitive, that from a young age you've been able to sense what's going on around you. And you might think that everybody has this intuition, they just need to develop it. And it's true, we are all intuitive. We do all have these intuitive skills, but you have them naturally. And when you have something very naturally, then you can help others to learn that. And this is how that abundance is amplified, it's expanded, these Jupiter words that we've been talking about. Perhaps you feel great comfort and abundance at home, in the family, also related to the fourth house. And this family can be friends that feel like family. When you're lucky in these areas, it means that you can help others to feel like they have a family or feel like they're part of a family, even if they're just your close friends. In the fifth house, creativity, this is where you're lucky. This is where you have an abundance of skill. You could naturally be artistic, musical, playful. These are all fifth house keywords. When you lean into these gifts that the universe has given you, then you amplify them and you create more abundance in your life, whether that's through money, just through feeling more confident, feeling more optimistic, trusting and having faith in your creative abilities. If you have Jupiter in the sixth house is related to work. It's related to how we serve in the world. Perhaps you find it quite easy to get jobs. You've always had an ease when it comes to your daily routines. And guess what? That might feel mundane to other people, but for you, there's a joy there. There's a confidence that you can help to impart. Maybe serving others is something that you feel does bring you a lot of wisdom. That actually you learn so much from being around others and serving people in this way. If you have Jupiter in this house, then ask for a pay rise. Maybe you're the one that more easily gets promotions and you don't even realize that this is a blessing in your life, but it is. I hope some of this is resonating, and let me know in the comments where your Jupiter is, if you already know which house it is in, which sign it's in even. So houses 7, 8 and 9. I relate, I desire, I seek. So when we're looking at the seventh house, I'm sure you know very well that the seventh house talks about partnerships, close relationships, especially marriage or work partnerships, it can also be. So have a think. If you have Jupiter in the seventh house, are you naturally abundant when it comes to relationships? Do you find that there's an ease, that you're lucky when it comes to partners? Perhaps you've been married to the same person for a very long time, somebody that you met at high school, for example. And we know with Jupiter, we have to be careful of not getting overconfident. There's a sense of responsibility that you need to develop. If you're a person who thinks, oh yeah, I can easily get another guy, relationships come easily to me, I'm not worried about it, it might mean that you're less responsible when it comes to relationships, that you put in less effort And so it's important with this Jupiter energy that we do develop integrity, that we become responsible about these natural gifts that we have. Let me know if you have Jupiter in the 8th house. This is the house of depth. It's the next water sign. And so there is an intuitiveness about this placement, a natural ability to go deep on things, to really understand and gain a lot from the depth of investigation. Having Jupiter in the 8th house can also be related to other people's money. Perhaps your abundance comes from helping other people to invest their money. In the 8th house, your blessings can also very much come from inheritance. Perhaps you receive a bunch of money that you weren't even expecting. Your gifts here might be to do with helping other people to transform their lives in some way. In the 9th house, we talk about what we're seeking for, that higher wisdom, long distance travel. There's a foreign connection here. If you have Jupiter in this house, then you might find that abundance and blessings come more easily when you're traveling abroad. Perhaps your gifts are really amplified when you are working with foreign people in some respect. Or when you're learning about different cultures, then you feel more abundant. I've created a little cheat sheet that goes along with the one that we did not so long ago about Venus and finding joy and happiness in your chart. You can download that below. So houses 10 to 12. Here we're talking about the wider world. I achieve, I know, I believe. And in the 10th house, this is very much related to your career, your reputation, how you're seen in the world. Perhaps you are a natural leader. You are considered somebody who's inspiring, that brings great wisdom to the world. And yes, you need to be careful of being overconfident, of pushing your opinions too much on people. But with Jupiter in this place, it means that your gifts are to share that wisdom that you naturally have, the faith that you perhaps have always expressed, because this is what's going to connect with others. People are going to feel that, they're going to sense your confidence when it comes to these areas as a leader, as somebody to look up to. Don't be shy of that. Can you see how we could easily miss these blessings because we're worried about what people think? And what Jupiter's saying is, believe in yourself. I am the biggest planet in the whole solar system. In the 11th house, we're talking about communities. Abundance might be felt most when you're bringing people together. Jupiter in the 11th is also related to dreams and wishes. So I really believe that this is about being a visionary. One of your skills is that you can help people to dream big. Let me know if you have your Jupiter in the 12th house, the last water sign. Very intuitive, related to Pisces. This is more of an inward abundance, a faith, a knowing that you are protected, that you are here for a reason. You might think that everybody can feel this, that everybody can think this, and they can, but for you it comes naturally. You're blessed with this beautiful inner knowing, and you can share that with others. Think retreats, think helping the underdog, encouraging people to have faith, to trust in something higher, something that you can naturally do. So I hope going through those houses you've seen that we do have abundance, we are blessed, and that it's so easy to overlook those blessings. I wanted to talk about a couple of ways that you can open yourself up to those blessings. I love using lapis lazuli. This is great for wisdom, higher mind. But there's lots of crystals that could be related to Jupiter. I think citrine as well. Very much abundance, joy. You know, working with these crystals, carrying them with you, meditating with them. I've got tiger's eye, confidence, that growth, grounded growth. These are great crystals for working with. And having a practice of gratitude. I know that you've done gratitude lists, but Jupiter responds to appreciation. And so just noticing those little blessings, maybe the things that we've talked about today, noticing those small things that feel easy in your life is going to bring more of that to you. Or how can you create more responsibility around those gifts so that you allow them to grow in a more steady, expansive way? The more generously you share your gifts, the more it's going to come back to you. And this really relates to that old saying, like, the more you give, the more you get. And I really think that's symbolic of Jupiter and how it grows and it broadens and expands the things that it touches. Because the planet Jupiter in our chart shows where we want to grow, where we want to expand and carry on learning, then you can ask in meditation, where am I being asked to grow right now? What area of my life am I holding back in? Understanding Jupiter in your chart is really one of the most uplifting things that you can find. And if you've enjoyed today's video, you will definitely want to check out where to find joy and happiness through Venus in your chart. I'll link that video here. And don't forget to download the Jupiter code worksheet that I'm going to leave just below. Thank you so much for watching, and you are blessed.